let's see here in Game 2 if Panthera can secure their DreamHack slot. Game 2, Panthera now first pick here against Torpedo. Dimi struggling, surprisingly, in that match. Not something we typically see from him. I think he had 4 deaths, which honestly might be the most deaths he's ever had in a competitive Smite match. I don't know if that's an actual stat, but at least back from Fall Split last year.
So when we think of Dimi, we normally think of his amazing rotations earlier on, able to find the early picks in the mid lane, which will set up Panthera for really good objective control. He wasn't able to find it there in that game. There was a little bit of aggression in his lane, a lot coming out of adapting early on. There was a lot of pressure. So instead of him rotating to the team fights kind of came to him. So he couldn't find that play that he was known for. And as a result, he kind of took a spill earlier on. But at the end of the day, he's still Guanyu with sustain, with sprint, and he still provides a lot for his team.
And bans coming through here. It's going to be the same bans in the first phase. Bakasura, and I think actually Bakasura was banned by Torpedo last time, along with Naja, and it was Kepri and Kronos banned by Panthera. But they're going to actually first pick Neith.
Panthera really valuing Neith in this situation. For emilitoo, the way he did it, just consistently channeling the World Weaver is probably very annoying in comms whenever you see it across the lane, especially when you're playing aggressive as adapting is known for, and you have the World Weaver come from across the map assisting you during the speed buff invades, the blue buff invades. It's very nice to have that global pressure.
Here's my question. Do you think this is like, they don't actually value Neith this high? This is just Panthera just like switching up on who they first pick so no team kind of gets a target lock on who they truly value?
It's possible that Panthera is limiting their valuable picks, which is not unheard of in past esports history, whether it's Smite or any other game. When you're in a comfortable lead like Panthera are during this season, you don't want to show all your strategies like I mentioned earlier on. Torpedo sticking with the Raijin Nemesis. It worked out in the beginning of the last game. We'll see if they can transition it a little bit better this game.
And the problem in the late game really seemed that Raijin wasn't able to stay alive and get off his Taiko drums as well as he was in the early and mid game. Adapting. Gonna pick up Thor, best player in the world at the end of Season 2, and this was one of his key gods.
Thor, known for his global presence, adapting, known for his aggression. You put those two together, then it's going to be havoc. It's going to be
like
match made in heaven for Panthera.
It's like OkCupid, right? Like 100% match rate, right? Adapting in Thor, is that?
He's going to slide into Torpedo's DMs.
He's going to slide into Torpedo's DMs.
We have Hu-Yi being picked up before the third bans. Not elected to play Apollo again. Gamehunter just going to stick to the Hu-Yi. Going to play very aggressive. And I like the way he was aggressive early on. He found a kill onto emilitoo during the boards. Unfortunately, got traded on when iRaffer showed up. But either way, he was always in a position to get farm consistently, hitting level 21st in the game.
He was 2 levels above emilitoo, I believe, at one point. And something roughly like that. Guan, you got to be banned away, so Moix doesn't want to deal with Dimi's Guan. Panthera looking to respond with the ban here. They could look to target out solo laners as well, or supports here, it seems. And it's going to be Athena, so no Athena for Murrdurr. And honestly, that was probably one of the biggest strengths I saw from Torpedo last game was Murrdurr's play on Athena.
The 3v3 synergy that Torpedo ran the first game was pretty good on paper, and Panthera recognized that, just going to ban it away. So they're like, okay, well, you have the 2 gods that you ran the first game. You try to fill in that third puzzle, and now what's available is potentially Sobek for them.
Could this be a Ymir pick by iRaffer, right? Where it's just like lock in the Nemesis? He's the only one who really goes into Ymir traditionally. There's
a lot of aggression that iRaffer likes to do, whether it's the Bacchus, whether it's the Ymir, but Ares is also still open. If Ares does chain the Nemesis, then she has nowhere to go. If she uses her purification just to get away from the chains, then she won't have the purification to get away from the no escape.
Additionally, he can bait out NinjaBobat's ultimate on Nemesis and then use his bolster defenses to give players protections afterwards, after they've had some shredded.
Yeah, having Shell, having the bolster defenses for Panthera would be very strong, and that's something that Torpedo might not expect here. A lot of supports being banned, and Kumbhakarna was picked. Ares was indeed picked for iRaffer.
And final pick here coming in for Panthera, looking for something for Dimi here. Neith probably going to be going over to Yammyn. Neith going over to emilitoo once again, and it's going to be Tyr.
Tyr is very good for Dimi.
Very good.
Very good.
Like you could just leave off the Dimi part and that would have been accurate.
Yeah, but Dimi known for a lot of
Yes.
So Bellona's were raining havoc once upon a time, and then Dimi's like, okay, I got tier. I'm going to show you guys what's up. And then he's been able to consistently 1v1 Bellona's, even when he was maybe a level behind.
I think last season, tier wasn't picked at all, right? Even I think post-buff a little bit, or maybe it was somewhere around the buff where his power cleave was healing for more. And Dimi was the only one to still play it consistently and play it at a high level.
And to answer the tier, Torpedo's Moex does pick up Vamana. We'll see if he is able to shut him down as we go into game number 2.
Game 2 underway. Panthera trying to clinch their DreamHack slot in only week 7. There is still 3 weeks and a day to play. Excuse me, 2 days to play, and they could already be ready.
And even if they do clinch DreamHack, there's another game besides Smite on DreamHack, and iRaffer is showcasing that off. Paladins will be there as well, playing the Fernando skin.
100K tournament there. Make sure to be heading over and watching twitch.tv/Paladins game as well. We stream the qualifiers leading up to it. But we're talking about Smite 4 now. 40 seconds until minion spawns here. Yammyn on the best Neith skin in the game. Kumbhakarna. Okay, never mind. Not even gonna try that again.
We're gonna pretend that never happened.
So actually, oh no, this is Yammyn. Not electing to go into the golden bow starting with the Transcendence build. Is this simply because he's mid lane?
Yeah, you want to have more sustain in the mid lane, especially when Adapting's going to play very aggressive. More than likely, there's going to be some return fire as well towards you. So you want to consistently fire out the roots off of Adapting's damage and stuns. And it's not a bad idea because it also sets you up into the middle game. Whenever you finished off the Transcendence, you're also going to build the Warrior Tabby. So your damage spike from your ultimate, your roots, is just going to increase that much further.
Talk to me a little bit about this soul in Neith right now, because last time we saw emilitoo on the Neith, and it was Yammyn on the soul. Now it's swapped emilitoo with the Neith, or excuse me, Yammyn with the Neith in the mid lane. Why was this change made? Is this simply because of the Hou-Yi versus Apollo?
It could also be a strategy that Panthera is trying to employ where they don't want teams to recognize their strategies. They don't want to consistently run one god in one lane, right? You always got to be mixing things up. You can't be read like a book. You have to have a variety of strategies, and that's exactly what Panthera are doing. They're not allowing them to be read.
And iRaffer, a lot of times goes into the meditation. This time, though, on this Ares, electing to go into the early shell. I honestly think he's going to be waiting to use this until after NinjaBobat ult someone.
That is a good idea, too. You know, you lose the protections, and then you regain those protections afterwards. If you use it before the Nemesis ult, then a large portion of... Yeah, then you're stealing more, exactly. And iRaffer doesn't want to... Maybe he wants to respect the 2v2 between Murrdurr and Gamehunter.
emilitoo here, taking a little bit of poke. iRaffer also walks into the bounce, so control going the way of Gamehunter and Murrdurr in this lane early on. But Panthera, once again, controlling the fire elementals.
And those are really important. They're worth 90 gold now going to your jungler, and half of that going to your soul lane. So as long as you're picking that up, yeah, that adds up. 130. Imagine getting 135 gold every 2 minutes or so up until the fire giant does spawn.
Hey man, I'll take that. That's going to be an early item here. Left-hand side, Adapting, just going to stun out NinjaBobat, trying to secure these mid-harpies, but has to reset as Yammyn wasn't in position to secure them over the wall. Did he steal those? No.
Doesn't look like he did. I think Korinyo did secure those, as we do have in the middle lane. Korinyo at level 4, so that's another way you can tell which god did indeed secure that.
And both teams spacing right now, don't want to get themselves out of position. And it's actually a lot of respect once again. This seems like a new deadly combo. This, you know, we've seen kind of the Sobek Awilishes come into prominence at mid-harpies, the double bounce comp, the Naja Zeus, but this Nemesis Raijin, this could be kind of a new strategy for mid-harpy control.
It's really good in team fights whenever you can find somebody that doesn't have a mobility escape, right? Like, we saw Bacchus's jump in, and then they're getting targeted. And in this situation, they're having immobile Ares hold the phone. We have Adapting, trying to gank Moex. Going to stun out the dash. No level 5, going to get Fearless under the Tectonic Rift.
And that was just perfectly executed. Adapting, spacing himself away from the knockup, finds the stun, and then Dimi immediately follows up with the Fearless into the Thor wall, which means he wasn't getting pushed, you know, away from any bonus damage, and then just the follow and clean up from Adapting.
And the wave on top of that was doing a little bit more damage. Finding Moex before level 5 was crucial.
Oh, sorry, Thor. I saw Thor come. All I saw was I looked at the minimap left-hand side, though. iRaffer here in a little bit of trouble. He's not 5 just yet, knocked up, and here comes the ult from Yammyn, and somehow Torpedo aren't able to secure a kill there.
Murrdurr, good interception for the Neith ultimate. No counter aggression available for Panthera. iRaffer surviving for now. Level 4 still available. The ultimate will come up soon. He doesn't have Blink to play aggressive, so he's just going to try to back off, maybe finish off early Traveler Shoes for him.
And adapting here, 1,400 in hand, so he's going to be able to quickly get his boots. Needs about 100 more gold for that. And these back harpies should provide almost enough.
And now Dimi backs to base, picks up the boots 3 as opposed to the Vamana's boots 2. Does have the separation for the teleport, so if Dimi can play aggressive here and force the Vamana back and the teleport is down, he can. This is how the soul laners will start to slowly snowball, especially if you can steal the enemy blue.
And you can see Dimi actually going into mana potion, so more focused on making sure he'll have power cleave up, right? He doesn't need, he has a heal in his kit, he doesn't need to worry about it. As long as he can continuously spam those power cleaves, he'll stay healthy and allow himself to honestly get free poke there on Moex.
He wants to use the full rotation of both offensive and defensive abilities, knowing the healing amount from his defensive stance is very important, and that's why he elected to go for a sentry ward and the mana potions on top of that. Not even a regular ward. He wants to make sure that there's no vision adaptings going into the air.
Moex, there was actually a ward on Fire Giant, but I think he was around the pillar, and he's going to come crashing down, but Moex not in range there. I think that was a max range Thor ult, so Moex just spacing himself just out of there.
And what Adapting tried to do also was he tried to utilize that fire on top of the Fire Giant to limit the vision that Moex could see. Sometimes in the soul lane, the way you're looking at Fire Giant, if you know there's a Thor, you look towards that general area, but the fire and the smoke actually covers when he's up in the air, as we do have Murrdurr trying to force aggression onto iRaffer.
iRaffer's in a lot of trouble. He is going to get no escape off, but the follow-up and just a clean kill coming out from NinjaBobat. No shell online for iRaffer to, you know, keep himself healthy there, and a quick pick. And that's one of the weaknesses of Ares is, you know, especially if you pick it in Nemesis, you can just die in your ult.
When you have no escape and you, well, I mean, you
got
technically do have no escape, but when you have no mobility to get you out, the Nemesis ulti becomes that much more valuable, especially when you have Korinyo's damage on the Raijin to follow up. Looking at the player damage tier already on the top of the charts after that earlier first blood.
No one really showing up here too much. You can see 186 out of Korinyo's Raijin, so a little bit of poke. Nothing to scoff at just yet. 1 for 1 on the kills, and it really seems like Panthera's game plan coming into this was like, let's just focus out Moex because he's new to the role. We saw that in Game 1, and we've seen 2 gank attempts, 1 successful already at 5 minutes in Game 2.
Maybe not necessarily focusing on Moex, but more importantly trying to get Dimi in a position to do something in the earlier stages of the game. Last game, he wasn't able to make that presence known compared to previous games in history. So now Dimi's in a position where he could bully out Moex, and maybe he'll start looking for aggressive jungle plays and then start out-rotating Moex.
Actually, speaking of aggressive jungle plays, there's 4 members, of Torpedo grouped up on this left-hand side, but they do walk over a ward, and you can see emilitoo just gonna back off the safety of his tower here. And honestly, this is Torpedo we haven't seen before, right? They're not only being aggressive, but they're staying aggressive, adapting. Gonna try and find Moex here, and he's actually gonna be on the mark this time. Dimi over the top, 1 more hit, and very clean. 80% to 0.
The same exact positioning the ultimate was used from Adapting, utilizing the smoke yet again.
I saw it this time.
Moex didn't see the Thor in the air, and the distance was perfectly executed. The difference between the last gank and the first gank obviously was the max distance, but also the tier ultimate was used right away, trusting that the Thor will land. Even though the last one failed, he still used the ultimate. This time around, he still trusted Adapting to hit the ultimate, and tier ultimate was used right away.
And that's just, you know, trusting your teammates, especially at this high of a level, right? It's Panthera, world champions. You need to trust that Adapting's going to hit that. And we see inconsistencies from other teams, but that's just what makes Panthera so good.
And they're taking advantage of Moex, allowing Dimi to get a level advantage earlier on. He's going to be able to finish off his Breastplate of Valor as well and win even more of these little trades. Eventually, he might transition that into a little bit of a proxy between Tier 1 and Tier 2 as Adapting secures the 3rd set of the Fire Giant minions already going into Panthera's favor.
Dimi's here as well, but it's a grouping, and actually he's going to be ulted and quickly dashes away. Just off the mark was the epic uppercut, but he's actually taking a lot of damage from Taiko Drums, and Moex finishes him off. Adapting here, 1 versus 3, but it's actually going to be Torpedo bailing out. They got the kill they wanted.
So Lawbringer wasn't available because of the Vamana gank earlier on. They do find a return kill onto Murrdurr, so it is a 1-for-1 trade after that. Lawbringer wasn't available to him to escape. He dodges out the Kumbhakarna epic uppercut. The Nemesis ulti was used. The Raijin ultimate was used as well. Panthera didn't take advantage of that by invading the red buff potentially. That was available to them in the dual lane side since the over-rotation. That could have been exploited by Panthera.
But that was just a very clean execution, almost from Torpedo. Honestly, if that epic uppercut had hit, I think Murrdurr walks out of there for clean. But because it doesn't, they have to chase so much further than originally intended. Torpedo, though, still fighting back into this and only down about 300 gold.
Only down 300 gold. It is the 8-minute mark. The experience a little bit favoring Panthera, not too much at this point in time. Most of it is actually onto adapting. And when you're behind as a Nemesis, it becomes very difficult to be useful in teamfights. You're basically an ult bot. You're trying to steal protections and make somebody slow for the rest of your team to clean up. You can't really go in because of your base stats being lower than everybody else's.
I mean, to be fair, that's what we saw from Captain Twig the other day when he played Nemesis, or not, yeah, Captain Twig, when he played Nemesis for Hungry for More, is that he actually goes into the Yammyn. He went to Void Shield as well. He became kind of, I think, Brawler's Beatstick. He was this penetration frontline ult bot because the ult is on, you know, a lower cooldown than most.
When you're ahead or even, then you can actually follow up off of the ult, but when you're behind, it becomes more difficult to overextend and chase down that target with the ult. See, we saw situations where the Naja on Omega, when he was behind, and Naja's a similar character to Nemesis in regards where you're behind, you become that much less useful. Thor, if he's behind, he could still be very useful in teamfights using his global presence, setting up long-range stunts as well.
And a immense amount of poke on Hammer, right? You can never discount Mjolnir's attunement. It swings when you hit a double tap here. iRaffer actually wants to invade this. You can see based on his positioning, speed buff is going to be secured by NinjaBobat. There goes the ward over, and adapting. Oh, I like that. That was a really good presence of mind play by NinjaBobat. He sees the ward being placed. He recognizes that Thor's probably going to engage on him, and he just backsteps.
There's a little bit of a mind games for NinjaBobat, recognizing that adapting was looking to swing his hammer away, doesn't find it, as Dimi's looking to play aggressive still. Blue buff has respawned for Moex, as Dimi's still playing aggressive. He wants to clear the wave first and then maybe steal that away.
Funny enough, actually, Moex is not a full item ahead, but he actually finished Breastplate. Dimi probably has a good amount of gold in his hand, hasn't backed just yet. Because he does have a gold lead over Moex, but a little bit of an advantage for Moex, or a helping hand more than anything.
So both teams looking to start something on the right side. Mid Harpies, epic uppercut was used. Adapting goes up into there.
And now actually, iRaffer can't even get no escape off, but it's adapting, isolating out Murrdurr on the side, and now Korinyo in a little bit of trouble. Dimi's rotation pays off huge. There goes the hammer, but adapting not going to teleport, and it's going to be a 2-for-1. iRaffer falls after getting NinjaBobat ulted, but adapting and the rest of the squad clean up, and now a tier 1 aggressed onto.
And NinjaBobat very low. He is going to fall. The Moex is going to use his ultimate, trying to sustain. He's going to fall as well. So far, it's a 4-for-1. Mid tower does fall, but meanwhile, Gamehunter is rotating after pushing the wave in the dual lane.
Adapting.
He might find a cleanup kill.
Adapting no mana and actually barely sidesteps. That was a beautiful shot by Gamehunter, but adapting reads it and make sure he doesn't die.
The red buff is respawning soon. Emilitoo doesn't recognize this. Just going to steal away the boards. Blue buff is still available to be stolen if Dimi elects to do so, as we do have the Neith taking the back right. Harpies just going to reset Panthera, not looking to start up Golfier or anything like that.
Look at all of these. Look at all these winged blades coming out for Panthera, right? iRaffer once again goes into it. This is, you know, what I expected from him. He's actually going to Magi's Blessing as well, but you can see adapting starting to build into it. Dimi almost finishing it as well. And this is, last time we only saw it on iRaffer. This time I think Panthera respecting Bobat a lot more.
It's also going to allow them to dive. iRaffer going to get 2 chains, going to hit the third as well. Onto Gamehunter. He's going to have to disengage, and Murrdurr just going to create the buffer, allowing Gamehunter to escape.
How do you, so obviously, you know, Magi's Blessing isn't finished right there, but is this a good pickup for iRaffer going into this Magi's Blessing this early? He doesn't really have a lot of protections.
Well, it's going to make sure that he doesn't get chain CC'd by the Kumbhakarna as well, because if he gets epic uppercutted, then he's going to get also ultied by Korinyo its taunts, and he's not going to be even able to get off his own ultimate. So this might buy him that one split second just to get his ultimate off.
Dimi trying to steal away the blue buff, and I think it goes his way. Poor little Moex, 2 levels down, can't protect his blue buff, and this has just been abuse, right? Adapting ganks Moex 3 times, 2 are successful, and now he doesn't ever need to go back to this lane because Dimi, once he has an advantage, he knows how to run with it.
And that's what junglers sometimes forget. It's like, just you kill the one target twice, if you gank him a third or fourth, fifth time, then you're kind of overdoing it and you're not providing enough attention. NinjaBobat very low after the damage from Dimi.
Actually gonna get a nice juke, but Yammyn finishes him off there with World Weaver. Rotation coming in from Adapting as well. Korinyo in a little bit of trouble. He's gonna Sanctuary for now, trying to get over the wall, but Adapting's taking to the sky. He's gonna dive him. Korinyo, it's up to him to try and juke him out. You can see the rest of the team, but Adapting plays it safe. Gonna steal away the speed buff to the rest of his squad. They already got the kill.
Very safe there. Korinyo, they know that Korinyo has to back whether or not the Thor does dive. The speed buff was up, so they prioritized the objective over the kill. It wasn't necessary. And this is the true showing of a world champion such as Adapting, to have the aggression, but at the same time flip it off for a quick second and have the patience.
And left-hand side here, emilitoo gonna try and fight Gamehunter. Stellar Burst gonna be juked out mid lane. Taiko Drums actually going to taunt out iRaffer, but not a lot of follow-up. Third one misses, only hits Yammyn, and here comes no escape. Yammyn gonna try and follow up. It's only Murrdurr, but Adapting over the wall, and it's gonna be another kill onto the support player.
Adapting, finding another kill onto Murrdurr. Dimi from the backhand side. There was no purification available to Korinyo. 2 for nothing so far. emilitoo being a big bully to Gamehunter now. The tables have turned from game number 1. emilitoo knows somebody's coming from behind, and that's why he didn't allow Gamehunter to back.
And Gamehunter, nowhere to go. He's going to jump in place. Sanctuaries for now. Adapting has enough mana, and he's going to hammer out of there. But NinjaBobat trying to find a return kill. iRaffer, though, gets the chains crippled out. Bobat can't chase as much as he had wanted. And Moex's rotation trying to help clean up, but, I mean, he's going to be in a lot of trouble himself.
The mobility from emilitoo was fine. I like the Sanctuary that was used by Adapting to prevent taking anything from the Slice and Dice after the ultimate. Dimi just going to try to get Moex away. So overall, that was a 2 for nothing exchange, or a 3 for nothing exchange, as they also killed Gamehunter under the tower. Very nice aggression from Panthera. They didn't dive Korinyo. They got the speed buff. They still found Korinyo later on anyway, and then they get Gamehunter in the dueling.
And 11-3. This is kind of the game I expected in game 1. And it really seems like Panthera, they kind of figured out what Torpedo's game plan was, and now they're just completely countering, Adapting. No one in position to follow up, so he's trying to make a play by himself here. And Korinyo reads it. You can actually see Korinyo looking up into the sky there, and Murrdurr blinks forward. He's going to actually find the epic uppercut. Adapting purifies 4 now, but here's the rest of the team. Dimi over the wall, and Adapting is the first to fall.
First of all, Dimi's going to follow up onto Korinyo. There is still no purification available, as Yammyn is channeling his World Weaver, not finding the right angle to hit Korinyo. Adapting very ambitious there, trying to clear the wave before anybody was.
That was him trying. Like,
he was trying to clear the wave.
He was just trying to clear the wave.
He was trying to clear the wave
with his ult. That's like a, I believe it was iRaffer goes Bacchus, goes right of his sleepiest last item, and then ults the wave. It was someone they were beating by like 15k.
It's a lot of damage, don't get me wrong.
He ults the wave.
Yeah, he wants to get the experience in gold first.
Pretty
he doesn't
sure
want to share
20.
it with the rest of his team, obviously.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Adapting, though, going to fall there, so a little bit of a misstep from him. Not something we see too often. It's funny, especially after, like, we saw him, like, respect Korinyo under that tier 2 shot. I was like, all right, I'll just steal the speed buff. I'll play it safe. And then there he's like, yo, guys, watch this. I'm going to make a play real quick.
Play on the minions didn't go Adapting's way. emilitoo pushes the wave before Gamehunter, looking for a potential rotation, as we do have Panthera warding the speed buff of Torpedo. This could be a consistent play that they do. Adapting is available. His ultimate is up as well. Korinyo taking a lot of damage.
Oh, Adapting to the sky. I don't think he's going to think twice this time, and he's going to come down. Korinyo is in range, but it's a Sanctuary, and immediately Adapting backs off, looking to reposition, and it's Dimi blinking forward, trying to dive under tower. NinjaBobat going to ultimate epic uppercut, going to keep him there as well. Dimi actually in a lot of trouble, able to Lawbringer away, though. Sprint will help him escape, and it's going to be a wash as, oh, no, iRaffer.
iRaffer is going to find no escape onto Murrdurr. Korinyo is going to use his ultimate. iRaffer taking a spill during this engage. Moex is using his ultimate, trying to stick onto emilitoo. emilitoo's in a lot of trouble as well right now as he's getting chased down.
And the whole time, I mean, Gamehunter split pushing a tower on the left-hand side. Moex doing some poke there as well. Speed buff was, I believe, stolen away, as well as the blue buff. Adapting going to steal the back harpies as well. But that was a surprising play from iRaffer. His team was backing off, and then he engages and gets picked off.
A little bit of a miscommunication between Panthera, what they really want to do. At the end of the day, they do secure the objective that they were initially there for, which was stealing the speed buff away from Torpedo. Now Adapting is 2 levels ahead of NinjaBobat. Gold Fury is still available if Panthera elect to do this. Now, the thing that they have to recognize, Panthera, is the purifications that are down. Adapting found the purification onto Korinyo earlier on. Dimi goes in, couldn't find the kill, but he does disengage. And now, recognizing that those purification is still down, they're going to try again.
And Gold Fury hasn't been taken just yet, which is surprising with how much aggression that's been going on. Most of it's actually been on that speed buff on the right-hand side. Actually, Adapting going to secure his own, and I think Panthera are going to look to pull the trigger after that. Dimi, counter wards, but it gets immediately counter warded once again. Murrdurr and Yammyn, the last two with sentries in their inventories here.
Sometimes you got to take the baby step objectives before you go for the bigger one, you know, kind of eating the appetizer before the main entree.
The main entree, that's a Gold Fury, or is that the Fire Giant?
No, the Fire Giant's the dessert.
Okay.
That's the dessert.
That's the dessert?
Yeah.
What's the Titan?
The Titan? We don't talk about what the Titan is.
Dimi left.
If you have to ask, you can't afford it.
I definitely can't afford it then. Dimi trying to find Gamehunter here. Actually, gets him before the knockups, or excuse me, the escape is completed. Now going to chase him into the tower. iRaffer just peeling. Sanctuary popped and attacking from the sky. Murrdurr gonna try and stop him, but good purification coming out from Adapting here. And now this is just Panthera just isolating the rest of Torpedo and finding the player they want to pick off.
Dimi was playing very aggressive earlier on onto Gamehunter, forcing the earlier Sanctuary. iRaffer was zoning some people under the tier 2 tower. These two big bullies in the front line is being very difficult for Torpedo to handle. We have a blink, no escape from iRaffer.
On to 3, no one gets pulled just yet. Tycho Drum's actually doing a lot of damage. Murrdurr in a little bit of trouble, forced it back as Moex zones the front line. Into the tower is Dimi by himself. Adapting, tanking it as well, needs to escape. And it looks like it's just going to be pressure on this tier 2 tower. Dimi's going to tank it up. Their shell popped by iRaffer. Is Torpedo going to pull the trigger, though? It doesn't seem like they are. Murrdurr surging forward, does have sleepy time, so he'll be fine. And actually, Dimi really wants this kill.
He's like, hey, let me get this one here, guys. He's going to feed them 2 more kills as the Fearless is good. Moex does fall down to Yammyn. The chase is on. Lawbringer up yet again. NinjaBobat extremely low, forcing the Sanctuary. And Dimi finds another.
This is just really well executed by Panthera. Honestly, Dimi completely baited the team because Torpedo is actually trying to protect Murrdurr in his passive, and they group up for a Fearless, like you said, knocks it into the team, guaranteeing 2 more kills onto Moex and NinjaBobat. Korinyo here,
Torpedo
trying to force
recognize
people back, but
Torpedo trying to take advantage of the fact that Panthera is really low. They want to make sure the Gold Fury is not started. Gamehunter can easily blow up anybody as long as they get stunned with a ricochet off the wall. Korinyo is spotted by emilitoo, but not going to chase him down.
And Adapting here, just hanging around very low. He'll take a trip back to base. His wing blade was completed. It looks like he's working on brawlers as well, so going to be a lot of penetration online for the Thor.
Now, if Torpedo saw those 2 members back from Panthera, they could have elected to potentially start up the Gold Fury. Korinyo and Gamehunter were relatively close together.
Is it really worth the risk, though?
It kind of is at the situation where you're not too far behind. You're down 5,000 gold at the 20-minute mark, which is not insurmountable to come back from. And whenever the enemy exposes... So if you try Fire Giant the first game earlier on, the way Torpedo did, it would be safer to try Gold Fury because of there's multiple escape paths. You're not overcommitting too far to the Gold Fury. You can also pull the Gold Fury. You can't pull the Fire Giant towards a safer disengage.
And 21 minutes, Panthera, like you said, they're leading by about 5,000 gold right now. They've got 14 and 5 in kills, and I believe it was, once again, Torpedo actually finding a couple early kills to even it out, but it's really just been Panthera running train since then. And now they're going to start the first Gold Fury of the match. We're 21 minutes in, and it is being shredded as iRaffer zones. This should go uncontested. No one's able to make it in. And Panthera, now 5,000 in lead. That's going to be extended once again, and Adapting wants to fight.
Gamehunter, very low purification was used. Adapting. iRaffer uses the blink as well. Gamehunter's going to die to no escape. Dimi credited with the kill.
Yammyn actually over on the left-hand side here, getting a little bit low, but he forces Korinyo back with the help of Adapting. And now Murrdurr, he's going to be isolated away in the mid lane. You can see actually NinjaBobat trying to split push as the Nemesis in the right-hand side, but his team is being completely decimated across the map. It's going to be a tier 2 as well. 5 members strong. Panthera, they're just going to walk straight into this Phoenix. NinjaBobat's not even going to be able to back in time before it falls.
They got 2 for nothing. They fought 5v4. Now they got 3 for nothing as the middle Phoenix does take a spill. Left side Phoenix, there is no tier 2 tower. Recognizing this, Panthera is on the charge. Dimi is going to tank this. iRaffer is going to use his bolster defenses as well. And this should be a second Phoenix for free at the 22-minute mark. Panthera is closing this game out very well.
Moex actually gets chained, but the rest of Panthera are backing off. Nothing iRaffer can do. He's going to escape, and now, I mean, it was 5,000 like 30 seconds ago. Now it's almost 11,000 gold, 16,000 experience, so only a few players level 20 as well, so Torpedo have a long, long way to go.
So the way Torpedo tried to stagger into the Gold Fury definitely cost them a lot. Gamehunter get poked out instantly, and the aggression from the global adapting, the Blink Ares, the Lawbringer was used as well to try to initiate. There was no way Torpedo can stagger like that. They have to commit all 5 of them at once to not allow Panthera to get that objective. And had they tried to steal that Gold Fury earlier on, we might not have even seen either of this. The middle Phoenix and the left side Phoenix might still be standing had Torpedo gotten it earlier.
And you talked about like risky plays. Sometimes you have to make risks when you start getting behind, and conceding that Gold Fury not only led to the Gold Fury, but Bobat was split pushing, and then Panthera just engaged on the team, and they picked him off one at a time.
So NinjaBobat thought that the team fight, that they'd be able to disengage from the team fight, and in response, like, okay, I'll get this tier 1 tower, maybe I'll get tier 2, I'll steal speed buff away, as long as we don't, if all we lose is Gold Fury, this is fine. Unfortunately, the calculation didn't work into their favor. They lost too many people. Panthera getting Fire Giant for free, nobody in position. iRaffer getting a lot of people in his ultimate.
It's a 4-man escape, only Murrdurr's pulled though, and Taiko Trums are activated, but it's going to be Dimi tanking the front line. Adapting comes down, he's going to fight too. Stuns by Gamehunter, and actually, Adapting's knocked up. He could be in a little bit of trouble here. You can see NinjaBobat trying to isolate him and chase him down, but Panthera, iRaffer doing such a beautiful job of peeling for his teammate. emilitoo going to find the first victim in the mid lane. Murrdurr going to be falling soon as well, as Moex here is caught between 3 players. Fire minions starting to rain into Torpedo's base. They've only lost 1, and that's all they may lose for now, but I mean, this is a fire giant. Actually, Yammyn, ooh, in a little bit of trouble. Actually, backflips into tower. The second shot, it doesn't hit.
The second shot doesn't hit, fortunately for him. They do find a 3rd kill that they needed. A lot of members are low for Panthera, but it doesn't matter because they have the fire giant sustain. If they can find 1 more kill onto Murrdurr, this should be very easily their game, especially with the fire minions flooding into the Titan room. Tectonic Rift cutting off his escape, and there goes the 4th kill. Titan is extremely low-ish. No, it's not getting low.
Yeah, this is Adapting comes up with a double kill, 8, 1, and 10, a part of 18 of the 22 kills. And Panthera, they're going to find a deicide, they're going to find Game 2, and they're going to find themselves at DreamHack in June.
Sitting at 19-1. What a wonderful performance so far. Week number 7 done for Panthera. They're going to DreamHack.
They're going to Dream. I mean, we kind of already expected them to go to DreamHack, but to close it out, honestly, in week 7 is really what was phenomenal to me. Who, if anyone, is really going to even be competitive with this squad by the time it comes around?
We could see Cringe Crew making a stand. If Paradigm are known to play the way they are at LAN, then
Yes.
Paradigm is always a top contender in the European scene against Panthera.
How do you feel about North America, right, matching up against this Panthera squad? You know, where do they kind of sit? Do you see any teams potentially able to take some games off them or even a set?
I think the 4 teams out of North America, Soar, Enemy, Luminosity, Eager specifically, all those 4 teams, they can easily contest with both Paradigm and Panthera. I think those 6 teams together are the best in the world at the moment.
We had some pretty good performances across the board, honestly, for Panthera. Who really stood out for you?
In the second game, it was Adapting, and he did a lot of work in the later stages of the game of the first game. So I would say it was Adapting.
Adapting here, we'll see if we have some clips of him playing phenomenally, honestly, between both games. The whole squad of Panthera, though, very kind of, very, good across the map. Yammyn as well in the mid lane played so well.
Yammyn played very well. We did have Korinyo also really solid there. We had Adapting, pulling a lot of targets in the first game with the Fenrir playing very aggressively. Korinyo taking a spill in this team fight. And Torpedo was looking good earlier on, and this is where things kind of turned around for them as they stuck around a little bit too much. It was a 1-for-1 exchange. Gamehunter getting the kill onto emilitoo. Panthera did secure that Gold Fury.
And this is Yammyn coming up with 2 kills here. This was right after the Fire Giant, and this was just kind of beautiful spacing from him. And, not only can he play Hunters, but he can play Mages as well, and he's so kind of adaptable.
Speaking of adaptable, he does have Adapting to set him up for these situations to get these easy kills. And this is why Panthera was picking Soul and Neith in the games. They flex these picks, whether it's the Soul middle or the Neith middle. This game specifically, the Soul was doing work in the first game, and now in the second game, playing the Neith. this is the first kill that they got onto Murrdurr.
This is just massive poke as well, coming out from this Neith and Thor combination, right? It's like the Neith arrow into the double tap, and it's just like, you saw Murrdurr, you know, very early down, still just annihilated.
So in this situation, Panthera was consistent about stealing the speed buffs. They played very aggressively. They used the World Weaver to get that kill. iRaffer also doing a good job with his Ares no escape, setting up easy kills. Yammyn always finding the roots, alpha the CCs, whether it's the Tectonic Rift or the no escape. Dimi also making an impact with his consistent blinks.
You can see just the target prioritization, right? Just like quickly switching in between, you know, whatever members left in front of him. And he had a lot of setup as well. You know, iRaffer able to pull people in, Dimi able to fearless people against walls and adapting, guaranteeing stuns and auto attacks.
When you have a lot of CCs that Panthera had, whether it's the stun from the Thor, whether it's the fearless from the Tier, the root from the Neith, and then you get the follow-up mage damage out of emilitoo's soul, this is what makes a well-balanced composition from Panthera.
And here's one of the last team fights we saw in Game 2. You could see Yammyn just sitting in the back line, juking out a lot of damage and just hitting the Neith arrow for 2 players and then just like surging forward, looking for the prioritization. Once Torpedo's out of line, they just switch straight to the tower.
And the fact that Dimi's able to play aggressive and zone out 4 members for Torpedo, it makes Yammyn's job that much easier. Yammyn barely able to escape that fight. And look,
I love
Dimi,
this. This is a
where,
bait.
Yeah, this is where Dimi goes back in. He finds the double fearless, allowing Yammyn to, you know, find another kill.
And I believe Bobat gets picked up at the end of this. It's going to be a wall by adapting, and just one more hit, I think, from iRaffer. No, it's Dimi.
And
So
Dimi
steals the kill.
Panthera just looking on fire in all 7 weeks so far.
It's really been great for them, and you can see they've secured their spot at DreamHack, coming in at 19-1. Second place right now is Paradigm at 11-7, so an 8-game lead over the rest of the pack.
You can see the gap between Panthera and the rest of the European standings. They're just known to play this dominant, like, global presence. We're all grouped up together. We're all going to invade your buffs, whether it's speed, whether it's red, blue. They don't really care. They're playing so aggressive and together right now.
And you can see Torpedo there, 5-13, sitting at number 7, fighting themselves with 2 more losses, unfortunately for them. And right now it's kind of a battle for relegations on those bottom squads. But up next, guys, we have Cringe Crew taking on Team Dignitas. This could see a switch up here as Dignitas trying to find themselves into that 3rd place position. I believe they're 9-9 right now. Could find themselves at 11-9 by the end of the day.
Very important match for both 2 teams if they want to secure their spot into DreamHack.
And we'll take a look at DreamHack and everything we're going to be seeing from there. $100,000 on the line for the Paladins Founders Tournament, as well as DreamHack. 9 international teams. We have China, we have LATAM, we have Brazil, we have North America, and Europe, all competing for $250,000 live.
And we also have Paladins as well to mention there. It's going to be for $100,000, 4 teams competing for that. So we'll hope to see you guys there.
And that's going to be it for us here for now. We have Cringe Crew versus Dignitas up next, so stick around.